Hello, and welcome to my presentation on the analysis of security risks presented by popular Internet of Things devices. Many people today are looking into purchasing new and exciting Internet of Things products. Products such as smart speakers and home automation devices are becoming more and more present in homes, with a staggering array of devices becoming available. However, many of these devices can present a variety of security risks. Consumers need to be informed on these risks so they can make educated purchasing decisions. The proposed solution to this problem is to develop a testing methodology that will allow us to assess the possible security and privacy risks presented by an Internet of Things device. This information would have to be presented in such a way that it is accessible to the average consumer. The initial plan is to develop a testing analysis approach to determine the risk presented by each Internet of Things device. Then, to distill the results of each test into an overall score plus a short summary. This information will then be entered into a larger table that will be accessible for the average consumer. There are several possible risks moving forward with this approach. It is possible that the testing methodology developed will not be able to accurately describe the risks provided by the devices that are being examined. Also, another possible risk is that the information presented on each device will not be able to be understood by the average consumer. To mitigate these risks, the testing methodology will have to be refined, and we will have to ensure summaries of devices can be understood by a wide audience that is not necessarily technologically inclined. So in the process of developing a testing methodology for devices, there were some initial struggles that were faced. Testing was initially intended to be conducted using physical devices connected to a home network. These devices would be tested for security vulnerabilities by isolating them on the network and attempting various types of attacks on them. This approach presented several key issues. Acquiring a large variety of IoT devices would prove costly. Many devices were also found to be difficult to source due to global supply delays for many electronics. There was also the legal concerns associated with testing devices for security vulnerabilities. Many devices, such as smart speakers, require an internet connection to function. Attacking these devices would also constitute attacking the internet services they use to function. Upon guidance from academic advisors on the legal concerns this would present, and coupled with the aforementioned costs and difficulty of availability, the decision was made to pivot towards an analysis-based approach in which devices could be examined based on information provided by manufacturers. By pivoting towards an analysis-based approach, there were several key advantages. Devices could be examined based on information provided by manufacturers. This would allow for a wider variety of devices to be tested, and this was also when the decision to go with a score plus summary system was decided upon, and to make the results accessible to the average consumer. The testing methodology was split into several different categories. The first consideration that needs to be made is the classification of the device. The product category it falls into must be determined. Examples of categories include smart speakers, home automation devices, and smart doorbells. And knowing what category a device falls into is essential, as it allows us to compare it to different devices in that sector. The next category is security risks that the device presents. The technology used by the specific product will largely determine the content of this section. Examples of technology that can present security risks include microphone recording and internet functionality. Communication standards used by the device, such as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, will also be examined. If the revision of these standards that the device implements are outdated or lacking in some way, this can have a negative impact on the device's overall score. Privacy risk considerations can be considered the greatest risk factor for the average consumer when looking at IoT devices. The kinds of information collected by the device will be examined. Devices which collect excessive information will have their score impacted negatively, especially if the information collected is not used to benefit the user in some way. The device will be examined to determine if an internet connection is needed for the device to function, and the privacy and data policy associated with the device will be taken into consideration. Devices that are known to sell data to third parties will see their score heavily impacted. Many IoT devices require companion apps for their everyday usage. If such an app is present for a device, it will be examined for any additional privacy or security risks it could present. Upon completion of device testing, an overall summary of devices' security issues and privacy considerations will be provided. This will be paired with an overall score for the device. This information will be added to the table of tested devices. The first category of devices examined were smart speakers. These are most likely to be the most common IoT devices present in homes today. They see widespread use from a large, diverse group of customers. However, this category presents some of the largest privacy concerns in the IoT sector. Many of these devices collect a large amount of information and are manufactured by some of the world's largest data collection companies and organizations. The Apple HomePod Mini is an internet-connected smart speaker manufactured by Apple. It employs the usage of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connection protocols, as well as a proprietary ultra-wideband communication protocol. This device utilizes an Apple companion app. It supports 802.11n and Bluetooth 5.0. These are up-to-date wireless standards, and they are the most up-to-date of any smart speaker device tested, being the only one to feature Bluetooth 5.0. Unlike the Google Home and Amazon Echo, the HomePod Mini has not had any widespread security exploits. The device, however, does not feature a hardware-based mute toggle, but it implements a software solution. The Apple HomePod Mini does well in terms of respecting consumer privacy. A minimum amount of data is gathered on the user, and the data that is gathered adds to the features presented by the device. No outstanding issues were found with the device's privacy and data collection policy. Location tracking and saving of voice data are on by default. However, unlike many other speakers within this category, they can be disabled. Communication with the device is solely done through voice commands and companion apps that utilize the Apple HomeKit software framework. HomeKit has had one known vulnerability that could compromise devices, but this has since been patched. The Apple HomePod Mini presents best-in-class performance for a smart speaker in terms of security and privacy. Compared to other smart speaker devices on the market, the amount and usage of data collected by Apple is relatively low, and this gives the device an overall score of 8 out of 10. The Google Home is an internet-connected smart speaker manufactured by Google that employs the use of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. The device is intended to be used with the provided Google Home companion app. However, it can also connect to a wide variety of apps within the Google ecosystem and other third-party applications. It supports Bluetooth 4.1 and 802.11. Several security exploits have plagued the Google Home product line. Many of these exploits were targeted at turning the device into a malicious audio logging device on your home network. To Google's credit, these attacks require the installation of a malicious third-party app on the consumer's mobile phone. The privacy risks presented by the Google Home are in line with the rest of the smart speaker industry. The device has access to any information given to it by your mobile phone or through voice activation. Such information can include search terms, purchasing activity, and internet browsing history. While Google states that this data is not sold to third parties, many organizations such as the EFF contend that they do. Unlike many later generation smart speakers, it lacks a dedicated hardware mute toggle. First-party companion applications for the Google Home are not a large security issue and generally only present the same privacy concerns as the device itself does. The main risks come from third-party applications making use of this device. There are thousands of apps out there that can interact with Google's home devices, and it is undoubtable that many have poorly implemented security considerations or even outright malicious. Third-party apps are the main issue with this device, as well as data collection, and these lead to a compromise score of 5 out of 10. Consumers should take note that the third-party applications for this device can severely compromise its security and privacy. The Amazon Echo is an internet-connected smart speaker manufactured by Amazon. It employs the use of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It requires the Amazon Alexa companion app to function, but like many other smart speakers, it also supports third-party app interaction. It supports Bluetooth 4.1 and 802.11. Many of the same exploits that affected other smart speakers have also been used on the Amazon Echo line of products. Many of these exploits are targeted at turning the device into a malicious audio logging device on your home network. A cross-site scripting exploit was found in early 2020, but has since been patched. The privacy risks presented by the Amazon Echo exceed those of the rest of the smart speaker industry. The device has access to any information given to it by your mobile phone or through voice activation, and Amazon collects large amounts of consumer purchasing data. Much of the data collected by Amazon has been known to be shared with third parties. The Amazon Alexa app is relatively secure, though, compared to many of the third-party offerings present on app stores. This leads to the device having an overall score of 6 out of 10, and it scores slightly better than its Google-branded competitor, but worse than the Apple HomePod Mini. Data collection, while prevalent, is not as extreme as the Google products. Third-party apps continue to be a weak point. The next category that will be examined is smart doorbells. These present similar security risks to smart speakers, but also have the added risks presented by built-in cameras that are often present in such devices. The Ring doorbell is an internet-connected doorbell manufactured by Ring, a subsidiary of Amazon. It employs the usage of Wi-Fi connection protocols and requires the usage of the Ring companion app to function. The Ring employs the usage of an HD camera, a motion sensor, and a microphone to collect information. Ring has been the subject of a class action lawsuit due to a series of security vulnerabilities allowing malicious actors to gain access to the system. The issues surrounding the Ring's doorbell's privacy concerns are extensive. Ring employs a feature by default called Sidewalk, which allows users outside of your network to send data through your Wi-Fi network and through other Amazon devices. This feature greatly compromises the privacy and security of your home network, seemingly for little benefit to the consumer. Privacy concerns around the kind of data Ring collects are a large issue as well. The information that is stated to be collected in Ring's privacy policy is excessive, and little of it helps with the day-to-day operation of the device. The Ring companion app has been involved in a wide series of exploits related to lack of end-to-end encryption. While these issues have since been resolved by the company, it raises valid concerns regarding the vulnerability of Ring doorbells to future exploits. Overall, the Ring doorbell presents a very large security risk to the average user's home network. This, coupled with a horrible privacy track record, gives the device a 3 out of 10, leading users to take extreme caution when considering this device. The Logitech CircleView is a smart doorbell manufactured by Logitech. The device utilizes the Apple HomeKit ecosystem and uses Wi-Fi connection protocols. This device relies heavily on the Apple HomeKit ecosystem, and as such, many of its security traits it shares with other HomeKit devices, such as the HomePod Mini. It has no known security vulnerabilities beyond those limited vulnerabilities experienced by HomeKit as a whole. Logitech's privacy policy for Circle devices is respectful of its consumers' privacy. It does not collect unnecessary data, and the device allows for location data to be disabled. Since this device utilizes HomeKit, Apple's privacy policy applies as well. And while this does open data collection to multiple organizations, neither has presented any glaring issue with their privacy. Interaction with the device is facilitated through the Apple HomeKit companion app. The Logitech CircleView in a product category that consistently scores low stands out with a score of 8 out of 10. The only major concessions with this device stem from the since patched HomeKit exploits. The Nest Hello is an internet-connected smart speaker doorbell manufactured by Google. It utilizes the Wi-Fi connection protocol, and device usage is facilitated through the Google Home Companion app. It supports 802.11 and Bluetooth Low Energy standards. The Nest Hello gathers information using an HD camera, a motion sensor, and a microphone. This device has seen a wide variety of security exploits. Over 8 vulnerabilities were found in 2019 by a team at Cisco Talos. These exploits make the device vulnerable to takeover by malicious parties. Google has since patched these vulnerabilities with a firmware update. The privacy risks associated with the Nest Hello are significant. Like the earlier discussed Google Home, a large amount of the data is collected by the device may be sold to third parties. Google's privacy policy is the main concern with this device. The Nest Hello scores 5 out of 10. While it does not suffer from the same issues as the lower scoring smart doorbell such as the Amazon Ring, Google's privacy policy and the device's history of security exploits lead to its middling score. The final category that was examined were smart garage door openers. Smart garage door openers can present some very real physical security risks, allowing an attacker who can bypass its security to gain access to the user's home. The Chamberlain MyQ series of garage door openers are a part of the Chamberlain MyQ smart home ecosystem. They feature a series of remotes and have camera functionality. The product is Wi-Fi connected and makes extensive use of its companion app. The device makes use of traditional radio technology to facilitate opening and closing of the garage door. Normally, traditional radio transmitters would be susceptible to brute force attacks conducted from code grabbing devices. However, Chamberlain uses a more modern style of code transmission that allows for a significantly larger range of possible codes. This is a significant advantage compared to non-smart garage door openers. Privacy considerations are minor compared to many other smart devices. The only real vector for an intrusion on privacy would be through the camera attached to the garage door opener itself. Chamberlain's privacy policy clearly outlines any data they collect and does a good job of justifying its collection. Chamberlain's companion app is largely self-contained and offers security features such as two-factor authentication. Overall, the Chamberlain MyQ series of garage door openers do not present a large security or privacy risk to home users, giving it an 8 out of 10 score. An option to opt out of their data collection would be required to elevate the score further. To present the overall results, the results of device analysis have been compiled into a table that can be presented to a consumer looking to make a purchasing decision for one of the products examined. An easy-to-understand summary aimed at the average consumer is provided along with an overall score for each device. Throughout the process of analyzing a variety of Internet of Things devices, several conclusions can be drawn. Generally, the smarter a device is, the more risk it presents to the user's privacy and security. A complex device that gathers a wide variety of information, such as the Ring doorbell, scored extremely low on the testing metrics, or a relatively simple focus device like the Chamberlain MyQ garage door opener scored highly, even offering some security benefits over existing non-IoT devices in that sector. For future Internet of Things devices to score higher, and therefore present less of a risk to the average consumer, there needs to be an overall shift in the IoT industry regarding the privacy of data collected. Manufacturers also need to further protect the devices from damaging security exploits and be more responsible with the data they collect from the device. This can be seen with Apple's products that use the HomeKit ecosystem that have scored much better than their competitors. This can mainly be attributed to Apple's privacy policy, which is one of the best examined. Conversely, devices from Google and Amazon were heavily hindered by their privacy policies. Overall, many of the IoT devices offered on the market today come with significant security and privacy risks for the average consumer. It is recommended that users take notice of these issues when making purchasing decisions. If this area of study was to be further examined, it would be prudent to provide a more widespread overview of multiple devices in each product category. There are dozens of prominent manufacturers and products in the Internet of Things sphere. With such a large degree of choice, consumers would benefit from a comprehensive overview. Physical access to each device tested would also be appreciated, allowing for more effective and efficient testing and categorization of each device. There are several areas that can be examined for further study. While the focus of this paper was striking a balance between technical information and consumer accessibility, deeper analysis into the individual characteristics of each device tested could be conducted in the future. The impact of specific exploits could also be studied. A more exhaustive coverage of a specific device category could also be conducted. Greater focus on a device category, such as smart speakers, for example, could provide consumers with a comprehensive overview of an entire market segment. Ongoing study of the impact IoT devices have on the security and privacy of the everyday consumer could also be examined. A demonstration of the testing methodology used on an example device will now be provided. We'll walk through the process of analyzing an Internet of Things device and provide a score and summary that can be added to the table. The device that will be examined is the Tailwind IQ3 Smart Garage Controller, and this fits into the category of smart garage door openers. It features a motor controller unit and a companion app. The device utilizes Bluetooth and 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi. It integrates into an existing non-smart garage system and has support for Google Home and Amazon Alexa. No known vulnerabilities or exploits can be found for the device. The device presents several privacy risk considerations. Tailwind collects information related to the operation of the device. The device luckily features no cameras or microphones and only uses a proximity sensor, and location tracking enabled by the device is optional. The device's companion app presents a feature that allows for the door to automatically open when your phone and car are present. This presents a possible security risk, but since both the phone and car need to be present, it is slightly mitigated. The Tailwind IQ3 has only minor privacy and security concerns, and this follows the trend of the other smart garage door opener tested, and that devices that are fairly focused in their use case tend to not have large amounts of security concerns, where devices that have a wide variety of smart features, such as smart speakers and smart doorbells, tend to have the more significant privacy and security concerns for the average consumer. No major exploits or vulnerabilities were found with the device itself or the companion app that it uses. And so this device receives an 8 out of 10 score overall. And that concludes this presentation on the analysis of security risks presented by Internet of Things devices. Thank you for your time.